Hello FPL managers and welcome back to another video from myself, Will, and fantasyfootballhub.co.uk. In this video we're going to be taking a look at my team, my transfers and my captain ahead of Game Week 3. In particular taking a close look at Lukaku, Benrahma and Tsimikas replacements. Let's get into it. If you are new around here, then it's effectively a diary of my team as we go through the season, tracking the highs and plenty of lows along the way. I'm aiming for my 8th top 10k finish and my 5th top 1k finish. So those are my targets for the season. If you are interested in that and loads more FPL content, then make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. I know loads of you have already taken advantage of our 7-day free Fantasy Football Hub membership trial. If you are interested in that, then I'll leave a link in the description and in the information card above. As I say, completely free access to Fantasy Football Hub, standard membership, all our tools, all our resources, completely free for 7 days. If you don't like it, you can simply cancel. Bit of a no-brainer deal. So yeah, as I said, leave a link in the description and in the information card above if you are interested in that. Okay, so a brief look at last week. Backman between the sticks, not particularly hot, coming in with just the 1 point again. Not looking like my smartest move going him over Sanchez. He's got a tricky fixture up next against Spurs, but then he goes on a pretty good run. So I'll probably hold him for the short term, but he's certainly one of the players that I'm thinking about transferring out. Elsewhere in the defence, Trent Alexander-Arnold and Tsimikas coming in absolutely clutch with 12 and 11 points between them. Very, very happy with those two assets. Obviously, it looks like Tsimikas he has probably played his last match because Robertson's back in full training. I'll talk about potential Tsimikas replacements later. Sure, with a couple of fluky bonus points, to be honest, I'll definitely take that. He's still got good fixtures. I'm not too worried about him, although I really, really do like the look of Reece James. Going to touch on Reece James a little bit later as well. In midfield, Rafinha coming in with a nice goal. He looked good, getting lots of shots off. Most of his shots coming outside the box, but yeah, good to see him fit and firing and on the score sheet as well. Hopefully he can get a bit of confidence from that and go on a nice little run now. The big captaincy debate was between Fernandes and Salah. Obviously, absolutely smashed that. Went for the top scoring player between those two of Salah with a massive 3 points. But no, obviously those two disappointing slightly. I thought Salah was pretty unlucky. Obviously scored that marginal offside goal. If that had gone in, it would have been a very, very different story. I thought he probably was the better captaincy shout. He looked more threatening than Fernandes, just unlucky not to get on the score sheet. But yeah, look very threatening and very happy to have both of those guys going forward. Greenwood, what an absolute hero he's been. Banging in the goals, getting the bonus points. He's looking fantastic. I do think that he's probably most likely at the moment to start in that Manchester United number 9 spot. There is, of course, going to be, minutes taken away from Cavani coming back and Martial. Given the fact that he's been playing so well and he scored again at the weekend, I think that he's likely to hold it down and likely to get good minutes, certainly for the next few matches. Barnes, we're going to come to in a little bit more detail shortly. Spoiler alert, he is my transfer out this game week. Up front, and scoring a fantastic bicycle kick. I do think he has been not lucky, but he hasn't really produced the underlying numbers which you were probably hoping for from those first couple of fixtures. He's got one more good fixture against Brentford and then potentially is a guy that I'm looking to transfer out. Again, I'm going to come to my transfers later and what I'm planning for next week as well. And he's potentially one of those players that I'm looking to transfer out. Antonio, I don't need to say a huge amount about him other than, what an FPL god he is at the moment. And he can go on these runs. So if you don't have him, I would strongly recommend thinking about buying him because when he's in this form, he's pretty unstoppable. And so long as his hamstrings hold together, I think that he's a bit of a must-own asset at the moment. Okay, so this is how my team is shaping up for Game Week 3. And the eagle eyes amongst you will have noticed that I've already done a transfer. I've already gone Barnes to Benrahma. I did that on Monday night. Barnes looked like he might be falling. Benrahma looked like he might be rising. And initially, it wasn't a transfer that I was particularly considering, mainly because Barnes had Norwich up next in Game Week 3. And that is a big concern, actually. I don't think I've ever transferred a player out that's got such a juicy fixture coming up. And ordinarily, I wouldn't have done it. But the fact that there was a big potential price swing, the fact that Benrahma is just in red-hot form, the fact that Benrahma's also got a very, very nice fixture, the fact that I didn't want to get rid of Rafinha either, I didn't want to get rid of Greenwood. If all of those factors weren't enough, then I thought I'd look at the Fantasy Football comparison tool and just look at how the statistics compare between Harvey Barnes and Benrahma. And Barnes, as you can see, has produced very, very little threat, very, very little creativity in the first 2 matches. Now, I know it's a small sample size, but you do want to see just a little bit more spark from Harvey Barnes, and he really hasn't produced it. And you compare that to Benrahma, and the difference there is just chalk and cheese. Benrahma creating loads of chances, getting loads of chances, looking really threatening. It's not just the underlying numbers either. You can see it when you see him play. He is looking very threatening all over the pitch. I know Barnes does have that really juicy looking Norwich batch. I also know that Perez being out means that he's more likely to play. But that said, even with Perez out, I still don't think that Barnes is guaranteed to start. Leicester have got a lot of options that they can play in that position, and Barnes has been far from convincing that it wouldn't surprise me at all to see him on the bench. So yeah, all of those factors combined meant that, going Barnes to Benrahma was a little bit of a no-brainer. While we're on comparisons, I just wanted to highlight one particular defender that I have my eye very much on. I'm going to compare him to Luke Shaw, because looking at those Luke Shaw numbers there, they are pretty good. These are solid defensive numbers. Obviously, he hasn't got any clean sheets yet, but he's doing well on the bonus front. He's got some attacking threat there. He's got some, a creative threat there as well. The guy that I want to compare him to, though, who blew me away from the eye test, and looking at these numbers, and I know I'm very aware that it is just one game sample, but I think there is some historical things to look at to back this guy up, and of course Chelsea are very good defensively, and that is of course Reece James. And you just look at that comparison, and you're just like, wow, this guy is completely and utterly on fire. And if he can keep anywhere near these sort of level of numbers up, then he's going to be a complete no-brainer pick. Obviously, Chelsea have some pretty tough fixtures coming up, so he's not a player that I'm immediately looking to transfer in, but he's very close to the top of my watch list. One player that is looking like he might go out of my team, not this game week, but potentially next game week, is actually Danny Ings. So obviously Ings has got a good match against Brentford this game, then his fixture completely turn. So I'm probably going to be holding Ings for the Brentford match and then looking to transfer him out. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin is probably the guy that I'm looking to transfer out for. And there you can see, complete chalk and cheese between their underlying statistics. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin is passing the eye test as well. Plus he has some good fixtures from game week 4 onwards when Ings' fixtures turn. The other player that I've got my eye on is, of course, none other than Lukaku. And, this guy just, he looks like a different player than he was in the Premier League. Looks a lot leaner, looks, just all round, he looks like he's going to be an FPL god this season, to be honest. And yeah, you can see that his numbers there, even compared to Calvert-Lewin, are very strong. And I know that it was just one game, and I know that I'd like to see a little bit more of him. But yeah, he's very much in my thoughts. The tricky thing at the moment is that, for a lot of people that have Salah, a lot of people that have Fernandes, you've pretty much got to drop one of them to get to Lukaku. And considering you do need to drop one of them, and considering that Lukaku has some pretty difficult fixtures over the next 4 game weeks or so, and considering that you're probably not going to captain Lukaku in any of those fixtures, makes me think that at the moment, even though I really want him, even though I think that he is going to be one of the best FPL assets over the entire season, potentially, one of the highest scoring FPL players this season, I think that just for the moment is probably a wait and see for my particular team, for my particular situation, because I do think Salah and Fernandes are probably better picks just over the next 4 game weeks. But my current plan is probably to go Ings to Calvert-Lewin for the next few game weeks, and then figure out a way that I can either get Fernandes, Salah and Lukaku into my team. And I have looked at it, and it is possible, but it does create a little bit of an imbalance in your squad. But I certainly think that from game week 7, Lukaku is going to be a bit of a must-own, to be honest, when Chelsea's fixtures ease. And yeah, I just think that the amount of chances that Chelsea create, him spearheading that attack, is a pretty frightening prospect, to be honest. And I don't blame anyone for bringing him in now. I think that if I had a reasonable route to get him, which didn't involve dropping Fernandes or Salah, then I probably would be getting him myself. I could do it, with a hit, and it's something that I am contemplating, and I haven't completely ruled out for next week. Okay, so just switching back to the team then. I've used one of my free transfers. I've still got another free transfer. I'm probably going to bank the transfer this game so I can go into the international break with 2 free transfers, which I do think is very, very nice to have in your back pocket. Obviously, Tsimikas there is likely to remain on my bench for the foreseeable future. I think if you are looking for replacements, Duffy is a good shout. Is he going to be in the Brighton team long term? It's difficult to tell at the moment. You know, he's playing very, very well. The manager is saying good things about him. But, you know, Veltman coming back into the side after he's had coronavirus, Lamptey potentially coming back into the side. I do think that, you know, in 3 or 4 game weeks' time, there's a chance that Duffy loses his place. The top of my list for Tsimikas replacements currently is Livramento from Southampton. Young guy, playing very, very well, looking fantastic on the eye test. Got some good attacking threat in there as well. I have a little bit of a worry that Kyle Walker-Peters might find a way back into the team and might challenge him and might take some minutes off him. But at the moment, he's playing fantastic and he's looking like a slightly more long-term pick than Duffy. And, you know, you don't really want to be making transfers for those 4 million defenders. So currently, he's top of my list. I'd like to see him in the next match. I'd like to see him get another 90 minutes before making that move, which is why I'm happy to have Tsimikas on my bench this game week. If you don't have that luxury of waiting another week, then if you're planning wildcard in 3 or 4 weeks, then I think Duffy's probably the best shout. If you want a longer term pick though, then I'll probably edge towards Livramento. Okay, so in terms of captaincy, I'm 50-50. I'm going to switch over to our new Rate My Team tool. And as you can see, I've got a team rating of 73%. If I do sort captains and bench though, it does go up to 86%. If you've not come across this tool, I would go check it out. You know, you can get your team rated completely free. You don't even need to be signed into Fantasy Football Hub. If you want to use some of the other features, like sort my captain and bench, then and look at the suggested transfers, then you do need to be a Fantasy Football Hub member. But if you've not come across the tool, just go check it out. I'll leave a link in the description if you are interested in that. And as you can see here, this is the algorithm recommends that I go Antonio as my captain in game week 3. Predicted to score 5.8 points. That's higher than, you know, Fernandez at 5.6. It's higher than Danny Ings also at 5.6. So very, very little between them. But, you know, ever since the season started, I'd always had Antonio in mind for my captain in game week 3 against Crystal Palace. That's before he went and scored ridiculous amounts of goals in the first 2 game weeks. So I don't really see a reason to change that. Wolves are looking fairly solid, actually. I think that, you know, that's not a complete gimme of a game. Crystal Palace, on the other hand, have not looked particularly good. So for me, you know, Antonio in great form. I think that he's looking like the most sensible option. Ings, his underlying numbers haven't been great. Brentford have also looked pretty good defensively and got some good numbers. So overall, you know, looking at all the options, all the data, I think I'm hedging towards Antonio with Fernandez as the vice captain. Salah playing against Chelsea. Never really fancy Salah that much against the big sides. And Chelsea have a very, very solid defence. As I said, if you are interested in the Fantasy Football Hub free trial, then just go to fantasyfootballhub.co.uk/join. You can try out our comparison tool, our Rate My Team tool, our Opta-Stats tool, our points projections, our fixture ticker, Ben Crellin's incredible transfer planner. You can try all of that out completely free. Just go to fantasyfootballhub.co.uk/join. If you have enjoyed this video, then please do like and subscribe. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.